Hey there, welcome back to another video just like last time. My name is Nick. Got my notes right here like always, and this time I'm doing a list video. It's something I swore I'd never do if I had a YouTube channel, so I'm just proving myself to be a liar. But if you saw one of my more recent videos, I went to a game in Pelham, Alabama for the Birmingham Bulls. That was my 12th different arena, barn, whatever you'd like to call it, that I've been to throughout the different levels of North American hockey. So I decided to rank the 12 barns that I have been to. So let's get into it. Before I start, I did have some criteria. It is sight lines is number one. Are there a lot of bad seats? Number two, the atmosphere of the arena during the game. Not necessarily the game itself, but is the atmosphere buzzing? Is it dead? Is it flat? Like that. And then three is my likelihood to return to these arenas in the future. Now, let's get into it. Starting out with number 12, it is the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, former home of the New York Islanders. So, this is where the would I return comes in because I can't return. It's no longer a hockey arena. It is just basketball. And boy, can you tell it's just basketball because number one factor, the sight lines, absolutely terrible. If I can find the picture from when I was at the game, I will post it like right here because my seat was looking diagonal. I was facing across the one zone, but my seat was diagonal. Terrible sight lines. The Jumbotron was not centered over center ice, it was over the opposing attacking zone. And the entire other seating section was all bleachers because of how they had to configure the ice rink in a basketball arena. So just terrible sight lines. It felt so cramped. I was not a big fan of that. Just totally kind of ruined the whole experience for me. I do plan on going to UBS at some point. I'm not a big Islanders fan though, so it's not on the top of my list. I'd rather go see other teams play before I go back. But yes, Barclays, number 12. Coming in at number 11, the Knoxville Civic Center, home of the Knoxville Ice Bears and the SPHL. Another arena with some pretty terrible sight lines. The first game I went to, we were sitting behind the net, and the way the ice is, it's like down, and you are at almost every seat is an upper bowl. And we were in the second row, and we couldn't see the entire zone in front of us. You could see like right inside the blue line, and then anything that was happening right there, you had to watch on the jumbotron. So just poor sight lines. Very good if you're sitting on the side, like long ways of the rink, the way the TV shoots normally are. That was a great angle. That was how we sat our second game that we had gone to. But yeah, if you're sitting on one of those ends, I think we paid like $12 for those tickets, and I was like, how bad could it be? It's bad. You can't see the entire zone you're sitting on. So another thing is, from the parking garage to the main entrance, there is a walkway that I thought would have been pretty cool to walk across. Apparently, you can't walk across that walkway because it is very unstable. So it's just blocked off. Number 10, we have the American Airlines Center in Dallas, home of the Dallas Stars. This arena itself, pretty nice arena. I liked it walking around. Everything looked very cool, clean. The atmosphere here was dead. Dead. I don't know if it was the game that I was at. They lost 6-3 to the Rangers that game, but they were in it for a while. Absolutely dead though. Really took me out of the entire like being in Dallas at a game. I don't know that I'd go back. I'd probably give Dallas another shot, but apparently they're looking for that new arena, so maybe I'll just wait. Uh, yeah, I'm really not sure. They're kind of in that limbo area. Like those two definitively were pretty bad. American Airlines Center is not that bad. It's just the atmosphere was dead, really took me out of the game. Number 9, I have Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio, home of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Nothing really stood out to me about this arena. It was just an arena. They do have that cannon. That thing is loud. I could not imagine buying a seat in that section right below the cannon because it's on the main concourse. I think it's 111. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But section 111, those seats have to come with a warning. They have to. Because if you just happen to be at a game where the cannon, like Columbus scores like 6 goals, that cannon's going off 6 times. And it goes off at like the beginning of the period, goes off if they win. So, like, luckily the game I went to, they only scored twice, and one of them was an overtime goal. So it was like it went off when they scored their first goal. It went off when they scored their second goal, and then they didn't really shoot it again. So yeah, it was a fun experience. I'd probably go back if I were in Columbus and needed something to do there. Uh, but like I said, nothing really stood out to me about Nationwide Arena. Number 8, we have the PLL Center in Allentown, Pennsylvania, home of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, the Philadelphia Flyers AHL affiliate. Honestly, this is another arena that didn't really stand out to me. I do know that you cannot walk completely around. If I'm not mistaken, we could not figure out how to get completely around. You would get to one end and then you'd have to turn and walk all the way back to the other side. I think this arena is actually built into the side of a hotel. I did not double check that. I probably should have. I'm failing in my journalistic duties. But yeah, it was fun. I'd probably go back if I found myself in Allentown, but I don't know that I'd go back to Allentown specifically for a Phantoms game. Coming in at number 7, I'm sure I'm going to get some flack for this one. It is Madison Square Garden in New York City, home of the New York Rangers. I want to preface that you can feel the history, you can feel the aura of Madison Square Garden when you walk in. That is not what is getting points deducted. It is the fact that this is probably the most confusing arena that I have ever been to in my entire life. Because I walked in and I was like, oh, cool, the main concourse, walk around. And then I went up to my seats. I had to go, I mean, is New York. I bought a ticket for like $100 and I was almost at the complete top of the arena. But it was like you go up, you go up, you go up. I went up like 5 times. And then I'm walking and the lady goes, "Oh, no, 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 you can't go this way. Because if you go out this door, you're leaving the arena. Even though you're still in the arena, you're leaving, and then you can't come back into the game unless you have another ticket." What? What? Okay, so just it was really confusing. That's why it falls to 7th. I do like Madison Square Garden. I've been there for concerts. I've been there for hockey games. Have not been there for basketball. Not a big basketball fan, but I'd probably go to see a Knicks game, maybe if they start doing real bad again. Because I'm not paying big ticket prices for the Knicks. Um, I did enjoy it though. It was a fun game. There is a really big energy there. They have a DJ that performs in between periods, and I don't remember the name of the girl that was DJing when I was there, but like the night before I was there, it was DJ Pauly D from the Jersey Shore, and I thought that would have been really cool if I was there when he was DJing. I like Madison Square Garden. It just falls to 7 because there are other arenas that I really, really enjoyed coming up. Like at number 6 with the Amalie Arena in Tampa Bay, home of the Tampa Bay Lightning. I know it's not called the Amalie Arena anymore, but that's what it was when I went, and that's what's in my hockey journal. So I went with the names in my journal. No pun intended, this building was electric. They actually had like Tesla coils or whatever they are shooting off like electricity off the ceiling, and one of them was right in front of where I was sitting, so I saw it every time it went off. That was freaking awesome. They had games that they were playing in between the periods. They had the people out in the knocker balls where they were playing like kicky hockey with the knocker balls and knocking each other over. Like they were keeping everybody engaged. They were making sure you were invested in everything that was going on at all times. I would 1000% go back to Tampa Bay just to go to a Lightning game because I had such a great time. Coming in at number 5, Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C., home of the Washington Capitals. The first time I went to this arena, It was it was the season after the Caps won the Stanley Cup. That place was absolutely packed. We were in there like sardines. I don't know if it's normally like that or if it was just because it was them the season after they won the Stanley Cup. And oddly enough, they actually played the Blues that game, which was the season that they were in last place and then ended up winning the Stanley Cup. So we saw the winning or the reigning Stanley Cup champion play the soon to be Stanley Cup champion, which I think is pretty crazy because that was not a very I don't think it was expected to be a good game at the time that I bought the tickets. But yes, I loved my experience at Capital One Arena. I think it's really cool that it's not a hockey specific arena and they had like window displays of every team that calls that building home. So they had like a Mystic window and giving you like the history of the Mystic. They had one for the Wizards. They had one for the Go-Go's. And I feel like there was another team that I'm missing. I think the Washington Valor were around at that point and they might have had a window too, like explaining everything with them. But yes, Capital One Arena is also the closest NHL arena to me now, so I'm sure I will get back there at some point. I just don't know when because it's a bit of a day trip and I don't want to spend the money to take a toddler and an infant to a Capitals game and then have to leave early. So, coming in at number 4, an arena that I don't think I would ever plan to go there specifically, but I can find other reasons to go to this city is Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee, home of the Nashville Predators. Just walking up to this arena from like 2-3 blocks away, you can hear them on their microphones. Like they had like a whole pre-game party going on. It was crazy. You could hear it walking up. They are definitely matching the energy out on Broadway or they are matching the energy out on Broadway inside the Bridgestone Arena. I have not been to Vegas yet, so I'm sure they will end up taking this title, but Bridgestone had the greatest production value of any game that I have been to. I loved it. They had, it was, I can't even put it in words. It was just a great experience. I would 1000% go back to Bridgestone. Coming in at number 3, one that people are probably going to think is a dark horse, the Prudential Center, affectionately known as The Rock, in Newark, New Jersey, home of the New Jersey Devils. This is the arena that I have been to the most out of any of them, is because Devils tickets used to be dirt cheap, and we could go ride the train, get into Newark or into the Prudential Center, and we'd be down like $50. That like ridiculously cheap. So I would just go up to Newark to watch the Devils. I'm not even a Devils fan. But I have sat in nosebleeds. I have sat in the lower bowl. I've even gotten club seats at the Prudential Center, and I have not found a bad seat through the bunch. It's one of my favorite. It's a very clean arena. I would definitely go back. Hopefully, the next time I go back, though, it's for the Sirens and the PWHL. Still haven't made it to a women's game, but yes, love the Rock. Would 1000% go back. Coming in at number 2, the Pelham Civic Center in Pelham, Alabama, home of the Birmingham Bulls. The most recent barn that I have been to. This is only a 4,100 seat arena, if you can even call it an arena. There is not a single bad seat in that entire building. I looked around all of it and I was like, wow, this is pretty great. We were about 12 rows up, sitting behind the net, and we could literally see everything except what was going on right at the boards. And I mean, you don't really need to know what's going on there because they're just pushing the puck up to try to get it away from the other team. There are a couple seats like in the corners where you're looking across like the other seats. But if that's like I don't know, $12 ticket and you just have to stand and kind of, look at the ice, totally worth it. Totally worth it. Unfortunately for my family in Birmingham, if I do, if I'm back there during another Bulls game, odds are I will throw out the suggestion of going, and if y'all don't want to go, I'll probably go. I was pleasantly surprised. I was kind of expecting it to be a dead atmosphere, and it was not. It was electric. So, Birmingham, you surprised me very much. That puts you at number 2. Coming in at number 1, I don't think it's going to be a surprise to anybody who watches my channel. There is a bit of homerism in this pick. I've had this poster up, maybe not for my first couple videos, but this is a poster for the Wells Fargo Center, and Wells Fargo Center takes my number 1 spot. In Philadelphia, home to the Philadelphia Flyers, my favorite team. I love the Wells Fargo Center. I will not call it Xfinity Mobile One Arena because that is a mouthful and it sounds silly. I will keep calling it the Wells Fargo Center. It will take so much for an arena to dethrone Wells Fargo Center. I have found my favorite seats. I have found my favorite food options. I have found, like, you cannot convince me otherwise right now that the Wells Fargo Center is not the best arena in the NHL. I'm sure I will eventually find one and be like, wow, you guys did it. But right now, it's the Wells Fargo Center. So sorry if you watched all the way and then were mad that I just became a homer for my favorite hockey team, but it's what it is, man. It's my favorite list. But all right, thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to this point, you might as well subscribe. I'm only 1 subscriber away from 30, so hopefully we can get there before the end of the year. We have about 21 days left, so 3 weeks to get 1 subscriber I don't think is too bad. Also, if you subscribe, you'll be helping me fund my hat addiction, which means you will get to see your favorite team's hat on my head when I do a video on them. Thank you so much, and until next time, bye-bye.